let's go straight to the discussion today. Social media for governance. That's the for good governance. That's the theme of that program. You heard snippets from. If you want a full discussion of what happened, transpired on Sunday during that event, you can go to our YouTube page, Flow FM TV. That's on YouTube. You catch what the governor said in full. That's about 53 minutes speech given by the governor, and of course Femi Adesina. That's about 52 also, and the speaker about 20 minutes he spoke. But let me introduce my guest this morning on the pinnacle of all discussions, the platform on Flow 94.9 FM. I've got a regular in the studio. He's well known. In this studio, he was the only journalist that has been arrested in the studio, in the live studio in Abia State. I'm talking about Don Norma Obina. He's back in the studio. He's a user of social media, especially in Abia State, and he's well known for his outburst on social media, especially talking about good governance. You're welcome to the program this morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Samson.
Michael, you're giving me something.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and I've got the chief press secretary to the Speaker of the Abia State House of Assembly, Chief Jude Ondukwe. Good morning to you, Chief.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Abians.
Good to have you join us this morning. Let me begin. The program Abia Social Media Converge with the theme Social Media for Good Governance. Did that program meet your expectation, Don Norman, as a social media user?
Well, let me begin by, commending the organizers of the program in the first place. I think they did a wonderful job. The society is recalcitrant, so it's very, very difficult to assemble people and have them believe in the same opinion. You cannot achieve a consensus of opinion when it comes to issue that has to do with the general public. Having said that, the objective of the program is to bring out Governor Kwesi also to have a discussion, interaction with the people. Most of us believe that the governor, is cocooned. So what we try to do is to bring him out from his hideout and allow him speak to Abians. It's like a town hall program, a town hall meeting. But because we know that social media users are seen as smart people, intelligent people, they serve as opinion leaders. So we choose the social media users, the digital natives, to ensure that the discussion, what we discuss, we get to the hinterland. Of course, they have this way of asking intelligent questions. The objective is to ask the governor intelligent questions and contemporary issues and see how he deals with them. To a large extent, I will say that the objective of the program was actually met.
Okay, Chief Jude, you represent the government on this program. Let me put it that way because you speak for a top government official in Abia State. You speak for the Speaker of the Abia State House of Assembly. Now, the three top government officials that spoke in that program revealed something. They said the social media space has not been so fair to them. You heard what the speaker said. The governor also spoke and said there was a time it was rumored and it was said by someone that he took an oath and he asked the person to prove it, which he said the person couldn't prove it. And also you heard what Femi Adesina said about the Jubrine, Mr. President being Jubrine, and also some other issues. In your opinion, do you think the social media, especially in Abia State, has been fair on the top government officials, on our politicians in the state?
Well, thanks very much. I will not generalize because we also have very responsible and responsive users of the social media who have also been very objective even when they are against these same government officials that you're talking about. But I think the issue has always been that those ones among them, the minority among them, seem to be the loudest, because of course, in this our climb, as it is in every other climb, bad news sells so fast and sells, very loudly too. So it's this little percentage of people, this let me call them, without any iota of doubt, peddlers of falsehood, who take to social media to malign people simply because the people they are maligning do not fall into the same category of probably political party, political opinion, or political ideology, like this. Or even like their sponsors. Most of them are even sponsored. So it is not surprising that for them to eagerly, justify the pay of their sponsors, they have to churn out, content almost on a daily basis, even if it means you peddling outright falsehood against people. And they are lucky because the people they are peddling this falsehood against are leaders who over time have come to, you know, exercise that restraint as leaders. Of course, you heard the governor said they allowed a particular destructive rumor to fester for 4 years.
So something I want us to take a look at here is that social media happens to be the only platform that you can use to get the attention of top of government officials. And when you have issues to discuss, sometimes it is believed that top government officials and politicians, they don't receive it with good faith, even when you are trying to prove a point.
Well, when you're trying to prove a point, yes, but how are you trying to prove this point? Do you try to prove this point by embarking on outright falsehood, on malicious content, being mischievous, and just trying to show up presence in the social media? Is that how you're trying to make your presence felt? There are many people who are critics of this government who are still friends of the government, and their friendship with the government has not stopped them from being critics of government. So what are we talking about? We are talking about a set of people who just ignorantly decide to just do what they do, in your words, to attract the attention of government officials. But is that to attract attention of government officials by churning out falsehood against them, insulting even their wives, their parents, even their children who are innocent? Is that how you get attention of people? So the program actually, was organized to reorientate these social media users. That look,
I'm going to get back to you so that you draw a line to where you start insulting, what you term insult and maligning of top government officials. But let me get back to you, Don Norman. What do you think the government has been fair enough, for social media users in Abia State?
I think let me start by saying that there is a misconception about the social media that I have to address here as a professional.
Okay.
The social media has come to stay. There's no two ways about it. Now, what I want the government officials who complain about this malicious damage, of their personal character using the social media, I just want to believe that they are not getting the point. It is easy to identify a fake news on social media and original news on social media. Now, in journalism, there's something we call 5 W's and H. 5 W's means who says what, when, where, and why.
Why and how.
Now, a professional news outlet or a news story written by a professional journalist must have a source. Somebody like Oni must say something. Who said this? Where did you say it? When did you say it? How did you say it and why did you say it? These are the most important thing. You cannot just, I was surprised that Female was saying that somebody can sit at the comfort of his house and, conjure stories and expect people to believe that. The truth is that people will have to sensitize the social media users. How do you come about news? What is news? Who is a news source? How do you get them? A story that has no quotation, that has no attribution, that has no news source.
But you will agree that someone can go on social media and type something, and it will be believed by many persons, forwarding videos, forwarding articles through WhatsApp groups and the likes. It goes viral. And the government came at some point and said, well, we want to sanitize the social media space, and we're coming up with a law that will sanitize the social media space. It was stood against by persons like yourself, social media users. Yeah. Now, how do you expect the government to create a good atmosphere in the social media space?
No, it's all about what people want. For once, I never wanted the government to interfere in social media. Because most social media, apart from the professionals coming to use the social media to disseminate their needs, I think the social media has a purpose. The purpose of social media is for people to come and have interaction, for people to come and influence opinion and what you have. So I wouldn't want a situation whereby we begin to look at it from the professional angle. The truth of the matter is that people have the right to express their opinion, whether you like it or not. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is that people when a news, for example, when Obina the normal decide to malign the governor, and I come on my Facebook page to write something that malicious against the governor, there is a law as we speak that regulates the social media. Cybercrime is one of them. I think it is not it is not asking too much for the person who you malign to ask for redress in a competent court of jurisdiction. But my problem is, how do you ask for this redress? Do you go intimidate and arrest the person if you knew too well that what the person wrote against you is damaging and it's total falsehood? I think it should be a civil case, a matter of filing a civil case, a complaint, against the person and claim damages. That is how it should be. Nobody has the right to arrest anybody using police to reach out to anybody for any article written. Like the governor already said, while we were on the program, somebody came online to say that from additional rejected the call given to him. The person who made this post wasn't in live on that program. What the governor was actually doing was explaining to Femi Adesina what cola means to the Igbo people, how we appreciate cola, and how we use it to welcome our visitors. So it has nothing to do with whether Femi Adesina rejected cola or not. I see that as side attractions. Anyway, the most important thing here is this: the social media is for everybody. If a government official thinks that it has been malign, all he has to do is to call his media men to come and rebuff that thing using facts. To use, let's say, that is a simple thing. You hear me?
Okay,
I hear you.
I've got Chief here. Do you agree with him? He said
I do not agree with him.
He said it is not compulsory that you go after everything that people say that is against you on social media, and you go after an arrest. Why don't you just come out and drop a rebuttal and say it is wrong? What has been said by this person is wrong, and you address it instead of going ahead and arresting and locking the person up.
Yeah, I understand, but you also know how social media works. Social media works in a peculiar way that is different from the traditional media. Like, for example, the traditional media has each newspaper, for example, have their own core audience, and the same with social media users. Now, I have written something, for example, to malign the governor, and it has gone viral. Over 6,000 people have shared it, so to speak. And then the governor says, no, this is wrong. I want my media aides to go and rebuff. And then, put the record straight. And then the governor's media aide writes something. And then another 6,000 people shares it. And those who shared from my initial content were not even aware of this particular one coming from somebody else. So, I want social media users to know that social media is not just about writing and then rebuttals. No. Social media go beyond that. In other words, people can be arrested for cyber stalking and cyber bullying, and that's criminal. That's not civil. That's what I want people to understand.
Okay, I want you to draw the line now.
Yeah.
What you post on social media, when does it turn to cyberbullying? You're saying you're bullying the governor, or when does it turn to cyber stalking, which many governors in this country have used against some of their known opposition, saying you're cyberbullying the governor,
people have used it, that governors have used does not make it right. Whoever has used does not make it right. When on a daily basis, for example, he gave an example of a particular person in Buku, for example, who the governor was showing Femi Adesina the process of kola nut in Igbo land, and that kola nut doesn't understand English in Igbo land. Femi Adesina just raised his hand and said, okay, no problem, please go ahead with the process. And the person turned it around to say that Femi Adesina rejected the kola nut from governor, and then attached so many other, extraneous things that are not even related to the issue, to that particular incident. I mean, it's falsehood, and that is malicious, and he has damaged the reputation and the image of an innocent man whose only offense was that he tried to welcome his visitor, and then he created the wrong image of him. And this image goes viral, and people begin to see the governor in the image he has created of the governor, because the same people he's talking about are not even in that program for them to even know exactly what happened. So why would somebody just sit down and then formulate things just to castigate or malign somebody maliciously by peddling falsehood?
Okay, now
and he knows himself that it is falsehood.
You've given an example of how social media can be destructive to top government officials, do you think it can also be used for constructive criticism?
Very well. In fact, that should actually be the main reason we should use social
Okay,
media.
fine.
Because if you
But
criticize me constructively,
anyone that comes on social media now, there is this general perspective by people in Nigeria that if you come and criticize what the government is doing, you're seen as an opposition.
no, yes, opposition is not a sin. Let us get it right. Democracy allows for opposition. In fact, any government that tries to crack down on opposition, as long as it is constructive, if you try to crack down on opposition, then you are not practicing democracy. And I think the opposition has had a very large-hearted governor in Dr. Kese Ikpeazu, who has accommodated a lot of things. He mentioned something. He said for 4 good years, he allowed a particular falsehood that he went to India to swear an oath to fly for 4 years. The man was minding his business until he discovered that, I mean, if I don't do something about this issue, people will believe it. And then he took action and said, look, you said, and remember when we're talking about rebuttals, governors' aides had before the person was asked to take responsibility for his writing, governors' aides had tried to rebuff that particular story for that 4 years, but it was not working because people get excited by false news.
Okay.
You know,
Let me,
the person had to take responsibility, go and prove it, and the person couldn't prove
okay,
it.
let me go to Donama Obina in the studio this morning. In case you're joining us now, you're listening to Flow 94.9 FM, and we're talking about social media for good governance. Of course, looking at the event that took place over the weekend, and of course, the gains of that event. We've heard from the government, top government side of the stories, and of course, how social media is being used destructively. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think that the government is being fair on social media users in Abia State? But, Don Norma, is it possible to criticize the government without being without adding insults, without maligning, and without maybe attacking the governor's wife or attacking the governor's siblings or attacking any of the top government officials? Is it possible?
Only first and foremost, we have to understand that social media is meant for everybody.
Okay.
It's all commerce affair. Now, a professional journalist knows that he cannot intrude the privacy of a person, an individual. He also knows that he has to be objective. There's something we call football of journalism: fairness, objective, balance, and accuracy in your reportage. He knows that he has to follow that trend. That he also knows that his report should be devoid of name calling. This is a sacrosanct.
Well, these are ethics of journalism that normal persons know.
Yes.
That the normal journalists are actually journalists.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Now I'm coming to that. The issue, I want to remind you that in journalism, there's something we call components of news, which means one of them is the individual, the person that said that thing, the personality that's made a particular comment. For example, if a madman goes to Ariara Market and say, "Okay, Zipazu is crazy. Okay, Zipazu is crazy," I don't think anyone will take him seriously, or even a wheelbarrow pusher. But if Obinna the normal, who is a professional journalist, happens to come to his Facebook page and call Zipazu mad, I think it will go a long way. So sometimes government officials should draw the line between.
And are you saying government should throw deaf ears to some persons on social media?
Yes, that is how it should be. You cannot respond to everybody. There are some issues. For example, social media users are not fools. They know when a story has some element of truth in it, and they know when a story is meant to deceive the masses. We know. The truth of the matter is this: most of us have found ourselves in this same position. It's not even the government officials have been the one, that have faced this malicious damage in the reportage. I've also faced as an individual. I remember that period that I was criticizing the government. Some people came on behalf of the government to post my pictures on social media in a swimming pool with a lady. All things, one of things were said about me. I will be that the normal is a drunk, but I did not respond to that thing for about 4 years. Why I didn't do that is because I don't want to pay attention. The right of reply is sacrosanct in journalism. Okay. But in this context, I looked at individual peddling the news, and I found out that they are not credible enough to damage my reputation as a person. So all I did was to wait for the right time to put all this together and come up with something that people believed. It's about having professionals to coordinate the affair of a particular government official. whether you like it or not, as long as the social media has come to stay, people will have the opportunity to say whatever they want to say. It is not like the traditional media where you have what we call the gatekeeping theory, where the editor decide what goes out to the public. No matter how a reporter reports a story, he has to get through the editor's desk. The editor have to look at the story. If it's damaging, if it's not damaging, look at how to avoid legal pitfall. A non-professional does not even know what legal pitfall is.
Okay, just a moment.
Just
because before we throw the lines up, and I would like Chief to respond to that. That the government cannot respond to everybody. There are some things that you keep quiet about and you move on and you say, I don't even have time to respond to you. And in a situation where you come out to constructively criticize the government, and you have some group of persons on social media where some people believed, allegedly, it's an allegation that they are being paid by the government to attack. They are being used as, in quote and unquote, attack dogs on innocent person criticizing. I don't know how you want to respond to that also, Chief Jude.
Like I said earlier on, there is no sensible or responsible government that would not welcome opposition views. That is why we are in a democracy. And if we're talking about, I think we're exaggerating the notion that government responds to everything. There are 1,000,001 criticisms against government every day. How many of them does government respond to? The fact of the matter is that government has exercised restraint, especially in this part of the country, in Abia State particularly. The governor has exercised restraint. The speaker has exercised enormous restraint. In fact, the governor has engaged. I can bet you that the governor is one of the, if not the leading governor, that has engaged opposition figures.
Let me just let me throw an example here, which I would like the both of you to respond to. At a point in time, the Osisioma flyover bridge was being called center table
up to tomorrow.
Now, do you think it's right?
Do you know? Now let me shock you.
Do you think it's right to criticize the governor to criticize the government?
Michael, let me shock
with that word.
Michael, let me shock you. Do you know that even among government circles,
yes,
do you know that we also laugh at that notion, center table, instead of being angry? We laugh. In fact, I can assure you that
you've answered my question. Okay, do you think it's actually right for anyone that started that line, a center table? You call a project, maybe because it's uncompleted, you call it center table because the governor in some quarters has been believed to have stayed too long on that particular project. Don't know, man.
Yes, in fact, as I speak here now, that will somehow remain a center table.
Even after his commission, it remains a center table.
Why I call it a center table? That is the reason why we had to ask the governor to come and speak for himself. The governor has to tell us why it has taken 5 years.
Now, the pattern of criticism by the people on the social media is what these top government officials are not happy about.
So
that's a big question. Now, I'm asking Don Norma, is it proper to criticize in such a way that it angers these top government officials?
My brother, let me tell you, whether you're a professional journalist or a blogger or an individual using the social media, a digital native, you have every right to criticize people or public office holders and hold them accountable to society. As long as your criticism is devoid of name calling and foul language, you are in order. As long as you did not invade that person's privacy, as long as you did not, even if you lie, pejo lie against the person, there is no story that can be complete. There's no story that can be perfect. That is why we are the media aid of the governor or the public officer that who the storyline was against, to come out and give people the true situation of the fact on ground with facts to back it up. People are not fooled.
Let's throw the lines open. Let's hear from our listener this morning. It's the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, where we take a critical look at issues as it affect our dear nation, Nigeria, and also as it affect our dear state, especially our state, Abia State. And this morning we're looking at social media for good governance, that event that took place over the weekend, and we're asking a big question: has the government been fair on social media users in Abia State? The lines are very much open. 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Michael.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, good morning to your guest.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Alvan. I'm calling you from Bende.
All right, Alvan.
I want to go straight to the question you answered. I think we have a media-friendly governor who is accommodating. Just like Chief Jude said, the governor has always come out to, interact with the people. Of course, he is also a media person. Sometimes I wonder how we have time to almost report some of his activities via his Twitter handle. He has been able, of course, from time to time, he responds directly to some of the open letters people, do put up to him. So the point still remains. Of course, during the event, you had the governor said that when some of these criticism people, bring up is kind of a catalyst, something that has enabled him to work harder. But what we're saying is this: we have to draw a line between constructive criticism and a black man. Most of the things we see here in Niger State, people will go and snap an old picture of a barrel, try to paint it black and put on social media. Do you call that one a criticism? It's not. So it should be balanced. When you are bringing up suggestions, you bring out something that is real.
All right, quickly wrap up, sir.
Because of what we see on this social media, we begin to doubt some of the source of the stories they're coming from there. So I must commend the people that organized that event. If it will be an annual event, that I think it will be very, very good too. That
all right. Thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. My name is Barrister Joseph.
You're welcome, Barrister.
So thank you, sir. My regards to the guest there, my wonderful friends.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I'm calling from Aba.
Yes, go on, please.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, go on.
Now, so my own view, most social media have not really been fair to the government. That's my own view. Why do I say so? I can't see the reason why individuals or so-called social critics will go and post a road that is not good. Maybe they may call it 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. And when that road is later done, they will not come and tell the public that this road has actually been done. They will now say, oh, it's not 1 kilometer road, it's not 2 kilometers road. The question is, at that time it was bad. Why didn't you say it's a 2 kilometer road or 3 kilometer road? It's not about fooling government, and you mustn't fool government that in any little thing you hear, you criticize. Without coming to now say, okay, that thing I presented, the government has done it. So does it mean there's no positive things in the government or what? So the issue is, most social media, it has not really been fair. If they criticize and government does that thing, they criticize, let them come and tell the public that government has done it too. If they say that the government has not paid the workers for the past 8 months, once government eventually pays the salary, nobody will hear about it. Why not come and tell the public, oh, government has actually paid? That's when your criticism becomes constructive.
All right, Barrister, quickly wrap up a third.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome.
Ikechukwu calling from Omaya.
You're welcome, Ikechukwu.
Social media is society that is in the media, community communication that is in the media. And you know that this part of the world, the reason why we have a bad governance is because secrecy in governance. Government is not open. If you want to fight fake news, the openness in whatever you are doing. Because if you don't release exclusive from it, look at how CNN does it in the US and how Sky News or BBC. Whatever news that drop will be the first to break it. But whatever news that drop here, Lai Mohammed will want all the media participants to take permission from the government to release the news. Then if they don't give that permission, people will sell the news, whether in the open market or the black market. So when you are sourcing the news in the black market, anything sells. You know, and the government do not have right to trample upon every individual who expresses himself. Because he is the paraventure in the beginning, he is the cause of the hard because they are produced. when you will tie a road with 100 million, you put 2 billion naira. As I can talk to you today, how many Nigerians know how much is being sold as today being 17th of February 2021? How much is being sold in our oil wells that we have in this country? Nobody has information. But if I tell you now, the reliable information I got, there are some these men who have this oil well don't remit taxes. Like Dangote.
All right, that's malicious. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's malicious. That's malicious.
Come and tell Nigeria how many oil wells we have, how much we are realizing.
Anyways, quickly wrap up a thought, take it.
And we come and accuse the say they are selling fake news. Okay.
Your time is up, anyways. Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Aloni.
You're welcome. Eric Ugona, right?
Yes, don't get a guy for
okay, don't get a guy
for me.
You're welcome.
I think time to time, I still believe that people have done more good than harm, especially in this government administration. From the perspective of my own side, I still believe that if the government of the day can be able to take the message and leave the message, that will be a long way to contribute and to help them to adjust and to know the area to amend some certain things in the administration. Now, coming to talk about this now, if you look at it now, you can see that the reason why this is not passed is because one of the heads or people who are there to represent the government of the day, they're not allowing us to know the truth, and they don't want the truth to be reflected. So that's why you see them when they are coming out with those of their own makeup. The people who are followers, we are subject, we are the people who are leading. We know when you be able to gather the truth, you have no longer believe on whatever they are saying. That's why whenever they say, look at where we have commission, look at where we have the statistics, look at what we have gone so far. Now people will say no. They will now find a way to. I'm not saying that the truth in order to frame up with something that is not so correct. But what I'm trying to say here, if government can do away with all these sacrifice people who are always telling us lies, and focus on taking the message and leave the messenger, it will be a long way. Look at what government has said. Government has come, he came out that day on that 14th. I say, go for plan.
All right, quickly wrap up a thought.
I read him to do what? To adjust it, we wait. So what I'm trying to say in my summary here, better now, the area the people are not pointing it right. They should come out and address us, say, because what they have done.
All right, don't kiss a guy for it.
Arrest them. That would be a long way to go.
Thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you. Oh, we lost that. I will take just one more call before we wrap up the program this morning. The platform, the pinnacle of all discussions. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, analyst in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Moses from the YouTube.
You're welcome.
What I want to say is my own opinion. You know, any government or individual moving on doing something without criticism, it doesn't make that person a perfect man. And no one can say, nobody can criticize him or he's just free from criticism. I like journalism and what you people are doing. I mean, praises you a lot because you people make us know what is happening in the nation. So government tracking down who said what, who is who, it's not all that, does not cover well. Government must surely experience or receive criticism. There are some constructive receive criticism that work fine. There are destructive. Those destructive ones is what I don't like. So journalism has come to stay. I don't like the way government is trying to trample or muzzle the mouth of the journalists, and that no one can say anything or criticize anything.
All right.
So that's where I am having my own view.
All right, thank you for your contribution all the way from Imo State. All right, that's how far we can go this morning. Join us later on Friday for another edition of the program. I want to really thank my guest in the studio, Obinadon Norma. He's a journalist also, and of course the publisher of the Realm News. It's an online platform also. Good. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the program, the platform.
It's my pleasure, but I want to leave people with a parting shot.
Okay.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, governments should learn how to live with criticism. The 1999 Constitution, section chapter 2, section 22 says that the journalists must mentor public office holders and make them accountable to society. it is a job of a journalist to monitor public officers and make them accountable to society. During the American election, we saw how American citizens use the social media. They abuse Trump on social media. It cannot happen in Nigeria here. A public officer is not an avenue to try on people's rights. You have to learn how to deal with criticism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Chief Jude Ndukwe, he is the Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker of the Abia State House of Assembly. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Let me also quickly add that social media users need to be more up and doing. They need to be more responsible and more responsive. They've been trying, and then, like the governor said, they've been pushing him to work harder. They should just do it, truthfully. They should do it without any slanderous content, without any malice, without any falsehood, and then criticize the government constructively. And then you will see Abia also being constructed in that same line.
All right, thank you very much. Many thanks to my producer, Samson Eze, and Samson's associate, Uyai Jimmy, and also many thanks to the guys behind the visuals you're seeing on our Facebook page and YouTube page, Solomon and Stanley. Join us on Friday for another edition of the program The Platform. My name is Michael Oni.